All right, so good evening, Mr. Gravador. Thank you for taking time in your busy schedule to give us this interview on leadership. So, why don't we start off by telling us your name and your position in the company?
Good evening. I'm Engineer Godofredo Grabador, presently the President and CEO of Simplicity Ministap Corporation, a business engaged in retail business, groceries, and supermarkets.
Okay, so why don't we start off by telling me about your career path and career decisions?
Being born and raised by the countryside, we didn't really have much of an opportunity. Our family, being less fortunate then, they strove to open up an opportunity for us. We were a family of eight: my father, my mother, my five siblings, with me being the eldest. Back then, we didn't really have a choice. What we were asked to take up, we took up without any further question.
Okay, so tell me about your educational and personal experience that have made you who you are.
During my collegiate years, I really just focused on finishing school. I took up a major in engineering, which was far from my actual career right now. As for work, I can safely say that it was one of the few trainings that I've had, but nonetheless was insightful. Starting from the bottom, I climbed the ladder, earning the trust of my coworkers, then eventually became a project head or a project manager as we would call it then. There I learned how to manage people because I always had to transact with different kinds of people, whether my boss, suppliers, clients, co-workers, you name it.
Okay, so how important and impactful have mentors been in your life, if there are any, and tell us why.
I really had no mentors. Aside from my professions in college, uh, none really. I guess I just trusted my instinct. And of course, accounting and fatigue, ethics, uh, reciprocation with my colleagues.
All right, so how do you define leadership? Not a leader himself.
Well, leadership for me is the action of which you can think selflessly to act for the betterment of all parties, which include the company, my co-worker, as well as my client and other external forces.
Okay, so what skills have you acquired that have been most useful for you as a leader?
Um, like I just said a while ago, instinct was the only teacher that I had to survive. Skills developed through the challenges that I had to face on my way up, and of course, observations of the environment always help. It helped me adapt to most circumstances.
Okay, so what have you done to prepare yourself to lead people?
None whatsoever. It was just fate that I was tasked to lead them. The only thing that helped was my gut feeling.
Okay, so in your opinion, what does a leader do that distinguishes them from others?
A leader for me is someone who is extraordinary and somewhat uh, masochist. For a leader enjoys the pain of answering for his or her underlings for the betterment of everybody.
Alright, so what have you done to prepare yourself to lead?
My professional life is my personal life. Being in the business for so long, I've grown to actually have my world revolve around the relationship I've established. They became the roots of my existence.
Okay, so what is your take on the difference between managing and leading?
Simple. When you manage, you direct the flow of talent while in the leading. You, uh, you think of the best way of ex. You think the best way to extract skills and talent out of someone by showing conventional ways, coaching, setting examples, and whatnot.
Okay, so who have been influencing people for you in terms of leadership?
I'm not look up to anyone. I guess it's my nature to pick up after myself and trusting my own ways based through what I kept saying, my instinct and gut feeling.
Alright, so how would you define your leadership style? People oriented, type A, hands on, or self monitoring?
I believe that being hands-on, you got to do everything. You can monitor, listen to people, and direct them accordingly.
Alright, so how can leaders separate public life from personal life?
Professionalism, I believe, is innate. It's not something everyone has naturally. I believe in being portrayed or who I really am. I'm the type of person who cannot adopt a different personality despite its consequences.
Right, so who do you consider to be a great leader and why?
None. I believe that looking up to someone means you'd like to adopt another person's personality and leading the style. For me, it's too one-dimensional. I like finding conventional ways to learn on how to become an effective leader. True, it has its ups and downs, but overall, it turns out fine for me.
Okay, so as you have climbed the ladder, how has your leadership role affected your internal friendships?
I kept them separately, getting the two mixed up. I know would be a terrible idea because there is the sense of laxness. It's more 50-50 for me. So I guess having them separate, I really had no problems.
Alright, so thank you for sharing us your time. Again, good evening, Mr. Gravador, and this has been an interview on leadership.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.